Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me for today's episode of Crafting with Class. Today I have lots of Postage Collage holiday cards to share with you, so I hope you enjoy. I'm going to be trying out both of these and kind of comparing them. This is the LDRS Creative Postage Collage dies, and these were on HSN, and they were a very good price compared to if you were going to get the Waffle Flower ones. Now, so I die cut, let's see, I die cut some on white cardstock so that you can see the difference. They are the exact same size. They're A2s. And they have that postage little dots on both of them. They have the same number of spaces, so they both have 6, but they are not like aligned exactly the same. So, you could, I think, use the waffle flower stencils, but you would have to move them into the different places because they are not the exact same size. So, you would have to kind of play with it. But they do come with their own stencils to fit perfectly, but I just wanted to try them out. I'm not going to be interchanging them, like using this stencil with that set or whatever. I'm going to use the waffle flower with the waffle flower and the LDRS with the LDRS, just so you know. I'm going to be using the Postage Collage Snowman stencil. So this is a 2-piece stencil. So this is a good one to start off with if you're a beginner, because it's, only 2 stencils and, be good to go. So we're going to start with this one here. Now, I've shown this in other videos before, but this is where I keep my grit mats. So in this pocket, which I got at Walmart. And so this is where my mats are. So let me take the cover off. Now you have the other cover on the bottom, but I want to move it around a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it on there. Now I'm going to be doing 2 panels at a time, so I'm going to go ahead and put these 2 down. That's why I'm using this big mat. And when you look at these stencils, it's going to tell you how many layers or which layer it is. So as you can see, this is layer 1 of 2. So I'm going to line it up on my paper and get started. These are the colors I'm going to be using for the Snowman stencil. So carved pumpkin, vintage photo, tumble glass, and black soot, along with my blending brushes that I use for distress oxides. So I'm going to use the lid of the ink pads to kind of take off a little of the extra, and then I'm going to go for it. Now you're going to see this is super sped up because this took me a long time to do, and I was doing a whole bunch of them. So you don't need to watch, that's boring. So, but I did leave the whole process in for you to see the whole process, just sped up. Just know that when you do this, it does take quite a bit of time to do. But that's why I wanted to do 2 panels at the same time. Might as well, since I have everything out. So now I'm bringing in these blender brushes. These are like the detail blender brushes. And you'll notice I have some black handles and some white handles. And that's because I use the white ones for the oxides and the black ones for inks, since you shouldn't mix up those 2 types of inks. So now I'm going on to the second stencil, which is the detail layer, where you're going to add the eyes, the carrot nose, which I'm doing here with carved pumpkin, and the buttons. So super, super easy stencil actually to work with. I'm bringing in some glitter paste. This is L'Enfant Pixie dust. And then I'm just spreading it with this little squeegee tool and making sure to clean it up. Now the reveal, look how cute that is. I love it. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up that stencil and then go on to the second one. Now we're moving on to the Poinsettia stencils. So in this pack, you get 4 stencils. And so you have many more layers, but things to add. So we're going to start here where it says 1 out of 4, and this is the background layer. So for the first layer, you are building the background, or that's what you're starting with. So I'm going to line it up and then go ahead and start with blending in that background color. This is speckled egg, I believe, that I'm using for the background. And then this is where I figured out it's best to do the entire thing, like everything you're going to do, one, and then switch it on to the other paper. So yeah, so this was much easier to do that. So I am using Tattered Rose for the poinsettia and the berries. And then I think this is Antique Linen, because I wanted to make the poinsettias not super, super bright, traditional red. So a little bit more muted and soft. This is Peeled Paint Oxide, because this is like a very different green. I forget until I use it how much I actually like this color. It's not a super in your face green. It's a little bit more muted. So here I am adding some gold glitter to the middles. And this was a little bit, I got a little bit careless, to be honest. And so I got somewhere I didn't need it, which I'll show you in a moment. But it's okay. I was able to fix it. And I will show you what I did. Now we're moving on to the next one. So this is the third one, which is the gingerbread. The gingerbread stencils come in a set of 4. And so the first stencil is the background. So I will go ahead and put that onto my mat. And actually what I do is I kind of lay them all together, what I'm doing here, so I can kind of visualize what colors I want to bring out, because that's the other thing. When you work with these Postage Collage, you are going to use a ton of colors. So I had so many ink pads out on my desk. But these are really fun. So there I decided to use kind of like a gray in the background. So it'd be like the aluminum pan and also kind of a gray sky in the back of the gingerbread houses. And so now I am doing the gingerbread houses. And I believe I did this in tea dye. So I'm reserving this color for the gingerbread and for the little cookie where the icing is flowing onto it. And then I did the antique linen to make like sugar cookies out of the little bird, and then the little snowflake cookie. And then for this tree cookie, I did it in green. Now for the next stencil, and these are the little layers, detailed layers. So I am adding some detail on those little gingerbread houses in the middle of the cookies. And also, this is the detail layer for the gingerbread man. So you can add some shadowing to him. And then for the sprinkles on the icing as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add some more of that darker brown. I think this is Vintage Photo. Yes, and then I'm adding that to the gingerbread houses and the shadow. And yeah, so there's that next layer, and then I'll do the same thing going on to the second panel. And now I'm on to the last one, I believe. And so for here, I am adding red, so to the door and everything else. So that was that. Now I'm going on to the LDRS one. So using, this one comes with 3 stencils. And so they are numbered. At the bottom, as you can see, that one was 1. But these are not designed the same way that the waffle flowers are, to be honest. I felt like this was a bit more cumbersome to work with because whereas the waffle flower ones, they're kind of divided up. So like the backgrounds of each ones are all on one stencil. These, like you can see, there's the background on this one, but not on the other ones. So I had to do a lot of masking, which I don't mind doing some masking, but I had to do a lot of masking. Just on this one little panel alone, I had to mask the inside, I had to mask the outside, I had to mask the tree, I had to mask the house, because I didn't want all of them to be the same color, and that's a little bit of a pain. So I felt like I prefer the waffle flower ones just because you don't have to do all this crazy masking if you want you know, certain things to be certain colors. It's more intuitive with the way they're designed by Waffle Flower. So I had to mask off those two ornaments because I wanted them to be two different colors. And so you can see I had to use a lot of little bits of paper and a lot of masking. So these are going to be the lids of presents. So I wanted to do them in purples and like raspberries. And then I thought this was a present right here at the top, but it's not. It's like the tree stand. So yeah. Now I wanted to use glitter on this where it was the stars and the middles of the poinsettias, but you know, that would be best on a different stencil. So again, it's kind of like a little bit cumbersome. Now, with these snowmen, I thought these were like the backgrounds were a little bit like plain. So I masked them off. As you can see there, I used the mask that it came with, or stencil 1. And then I just took some white paint and then added those little splatters. Now here's how they ended up looking. So this is the one from LDRS Creative. And so it took so much work to do all these little panels. And then these are the Waffle Flower gingerbread stencil. And so as you can see, here are both of the stencils and all the little additions that I made. Like I made added a little glitter to the middle of the sugar cookie. And then I used my Vivid Decor pen to add the little dot details. And so these are definitely embellished because that's what I like. And so here's the snowman one. Again, use my Vivid Decor pen on the little buttons. And then the snowflake has some stickles glitter on it. And then, of course, it's so much fun to add all the little postage details. And now here on the poinsettia, I added some gold splatter in the background. You can see, since I got a little bit of gold paste in the background. Now it's time to cut them apart so I can have as many cards as possible. Here is first card. I use these stamps from the Greetery, and they reminded me of the ones from Anna Griffin that she did for her event. So this is what they look like. And so you have the stamp and dies. So it's called Scripted Holiday Sentiments, and they're so pretty when you cut them out. So I used that one there. And then here's the next one. So 3 more stamp sets. And then I did these two, and then I'm like, and then I did one that's portrait. And I kind of like the portrait instead of the landscape way. I mean, they both are fine, but I don't know. I like the portrait one. So all the rest of the cards are portraits. So only these two are landscape. And yeah, so the insides have just a little bit of leftover paper. And then this one says, have yourself a merry little Christmas to go along with the Christmas stamp. And here is the next one. So I just mixed up the pattern papers, and yeah. So that is those. So next up, these are the ones from the cookie one from Waffle Flower. So then here is another one. So I kind of divided them up into the ones that had the gingerbread houses and the ones that were like more the cookies. And so that's what I did. So this one has this sweet sentiment there. And then this one's also sweet, but just a smaller one. And it says sweet wishes. I don't know if you can see that underneath. So on these little gingerbread guys, I use my Viva Decor pins to add those little dot details that I love to do. And here is the next one. So I just pulled a bunch of stuff from my stash, as you can see. And the last one. Now, when I went to do this one, I decided to pop up the border, and I really liked how it came out. So all the rest of those cards are going to be with the popped up postage border. So all these are flat against the paper. So See, so I kind of like how that looked. And then all of these have this paper inside, and then sending warm wishes for the happiest of holidays. So those were the gingerbread cards. Next up were the snowman cards. And so all of these have the popped up postage frame. And so again, pulled from my stash to get all those little snowflakes. And then the sentiment says, let it snow. And that's, I cut that out of that glittered foam from Spellbinders, and it cuts so nicely. And this one says, wishing you a cozy holiday season filled with love, laughter, and those that are dearest to you. So there's that. Here is another one. So I use the same background paper, and then these are the other 3 stamps. And then these are the other 3 stamps there. And then here's the inside. So there's that. And that. And I just kind of played around with, where I put that. But yeah, these are really fun. So those are the snowmen. And lastly, but I think these are my favorites, were the poinsettia ones. And so for the poinsettia, I use the peace sentiment. This is popped up to give it some dimension. And then this one says, wishing you peace, love, and joy, and a very Merry Christmas. With the little scrap of paper inside. So I really like how that came out. So here are the other ones. So there you can see all 6 different stamp sets. And all the insides are the same. And here is the next one. And the last one. So I really loved how these came out. So these are the poinsettia ones here. And then here are the snowman ones. And here are the gingerbread cookie ones. And the ones that came from LDRS. Kind of, a little bit of everything. I hope you enjoyed looking at my postage collage cards today. My favorites were definitely the poinsettia and the snowman. They were so much fun. Let me know which one you like the most. Thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. I super appreciate it. And I will see you next time. Bye.